for another review of Life After Lockup, Love After Lockup, Karma's Coming, Season 6, Episode 18. Okay. This show, I promise you, is the gift that keeps on giving. I know it seemed like I was waiting for a long time at the beginning of the video, but it's because I was waiting for the Bluetooth to pick up the sound. Don't think there's something wrong with it. Anyway, Beetlejuice and Daniel. We're moving on, and so should you all. Next, okay, Troy and crazy ass Zaria. Y'all, Troy just, oh my gosh. Troy can't get a break. And it really hurts me to see him hurt. And it hurts me that everybody around him seems to be so insensitive to his pain. So this bitch got her crazy, I'm talking about Zaria, got her crazy, jealous ass, ain't got a man, kind of stereotypical bitch of a friend going up there to Syracuse with her to see her husband. She up here like, yeah, you know. She talking to Zaria talking about, yeah, we can just go up there and whoop some ass. First of all, let me tell you something. Two bitches like that, especially a psychotic bitch like Zaria cannot fight. I'm going to tell you that right now. Zaria get all crazy and rah-rah. Even all that shit she had been fighting with Yana on the phone and everything else, right? But when she got to that part, she was real quiet, wasn't she? Because Yana strikes me as the type that would square up. Zaria ain't gonna fight. She gonna talk shit. She ain't gonna fight. She wasn't even as rah-rah that day either. Anyway, so her friend just wants her 1.5 minutes of fame. Okay, you got it, girl. Then we see Troy with baby Troy, his daughter, who tells him, you know, I like when you come to visit me. I just hate that this little girl is being, she's the one, like his sister says, really being hurt in the grand scheme of things. But she's right there with her father because she's still at that age where she hasn't moved to resenting or judging. It's still that young purity, right? And she's there comforting her father as he cries and apologizes. And I was just like, oh my gosh, poor baby. I'm talking about Troy. He has so much guilt over his father's death. But you can tell his father raised him right by the way he behaves. Because Troy knows how to, he got out of prison and knew how to act. Because let me tell you something, I felt like fighting Zaria plenty of fucking times. And y'all know I'm not here for that abuse stuff. Men need to keep their hands off of women. I don't think when women hit men it's the same thing. Not because there aren't women that try men like crazy bitches like Zaria. But I'm saying the kind of calculated abuse men go after, like not going off on their bosses or people that degrade them, then coming home and beating their wife to a pulp, that's not the same thing. Anyway, I'm saying that a point. I'm saying I felt like fighting Zaria. If I was, the way he manages his anger, that I'm sure he has to have somewhere. He's better than me. All right. Anyway, Troy, little Troy is the only woman you can trust, honey. Okay, and nobody bet not ever come between it again. And please don't let your wife come in between it. All right, anyway. Was it me or did Troy's family, when Zaria pulled up, and it was probably edited, look like, what the fuck is that bitch? And nobody seemed excited. Nobody seemed they were rushing to embrace. They were not here for it. They just weren't here for it. He's having his father's memorial, and he's having his father's memorial, right? This thing has been tearing him up. He has ashes around his neck, gave one to his daughter. He's already had an emotional breakdown, you know. So Zaria comes over there and goes, Troy, can I borrow your father for a second? I said, here she go with this BS. We already knew, okay, because they done put it on social media and everything else. Instead of allowing him to kind of deal with his grief in the moment, here is this psychotic, controlling bitch. Okay? Whatever it was, it could have waited. It didn't need to happen then. Because you still needed a moment on TV. You were decorating your Christmas tree when we saw you at the beginning of the season. When he got that fucking call, you could have told him when the cookies were in the oven, when y'all were, like, you could have been told him that shit. And then you wait when he's already emotionally, and I'm sure to him it did feel like a lift, but that's a lot of shit. You dumb broad. I can't stand her. Anyway, he walked over and said, like, are you pregnant? She was like, yes. And he was like, my spirit lifted when I found out she was pregnant. I think Troy will be a good father. I think he'll be a better one without Zaria, because he'll be able to be a better father to Troy and be a good father to the kid. But Zaria strikes me as the kind, she really does seem like one of those, you know, black women that black men claim, oh yeah, you just kept me from my kids when they really don't want to be in their kid's life. She seems like, if there is an example of that, Zaria is it. She's the type that would hold that baby hostage to get back at him. Because she don't spend time with the son she got now. That boy spent a lot of time with his grandparents. And he probably better for it. Anyway, so Troy gives this really touching, heart-wrenching speech. I can't even spend a lot of time on it because I don't want to cry. But he was breaking down. And I was just like, bless his heart. That's a lot. That kind of grief. And I believe people when they say nothing is worse than losing a parent. Nothing. I believe that. So his aunt goes to check on him and asks Zaria if she wants to go. Zaria, you should have been first in line to check on him. I feel so sorry for him. He feels so guilty. Your father forgave you, hon. I promise you. And I don't even think your father was mad at you the way you probably, you know, whatever you're feeling. I think that stress probably did contribute to his death because he was worried about you. But not because he was angry about you, because he wanted to see you do well. I still wanted somebody to hold little Troy though, because when I saw her face, she looked scared. Because seeing your parent or an adult that you're close to, and they're the ones that are supposed to protect you, to see them break down without somebody saying, are you okay? It's scary for a little kid. Zaria, it's the least you could do. He had his aunt. Because you really don't want to bother with that kid either. When he was looking at the water alone, his daughter just came over there and said, Daddy, are you okay? He said, yeah, I'm okay. We're going to be okay. And I just felt like, Troy, you are the best thing to happen to your father. And trust me, he needs you in his life. And Yana, you need to quit fucking playing too. All right, moving on. Justine and Michael. Justine and Michael are cute. I just think they've graduated past this. But nevertheless, they got to New York and they're looking for a date night. Their kids are so cute. When they call them, they do have some pretty kids. Anyway, Justine is asking if she looks like she just had a baby. They're calling his mom on FaceTime. And the mom says no. And Michael swooped in before she could even respond. And he said, you don't need anybody's approval. And I said, you know what, Michael? You all right with me for that. Because you be looking out for Justine even when y'all be having y'all's beef. Y'all know how to argue and be in a relationship with each other. And I'm okay with that. Her mom shows up at the hotel. Her mama is starting to look more and more like a hater. The mother comes in immediately and she's giving advice about the planning, this, that, and the other. Her mom, I guess, Justine's stepfather, because they keep saying her mom's wedding. I guess she's still married to him. I'm like, damn, bitch, you miserable. Are you ever happy? She said she had a $100,000 wedding. And Justine lets us know that her mother paid for it. Is that why your mother's always at work when you call? $100,000 for a goddamn wedding at that age? A nice wedding, don't get me wrong. I guess, why should I say? I shouldn't say it like that, because as people say, well, you should have waited until you had money. But it just seems like a lot, especially they living in, some basic regular town in Pennsylvania. I'm just kind of like, anyway. But I love when absent parents show up and people who are not in their children's lives all of a sudden come in and want to tell them how to spend their money and not negotiate with their husband because they didn't do that. You paid for your own wedding. Okay, did you pay for your ring too? And at that age, y'all grown. How the hell is he not contributing? Girl, bye. Anyway, your stepdaddy ain't paid, but you and Michael are paying for it together. Yeah, she can't advise you on how to do that this way. So Michael says there is something he has told Justine about their finances, and I was like, if he went and signed that barbershop contract, I'm going to be done. Anyway, his cousins meet him at the wedding venues. I knew when I saw that venue myself, I said, this is going to be expensive as fuck. What? In New York of all places? So he has an Indian side of the family. And he said his father is bougie. When I saw his father, I said, I believe it. And his father he's like, my father wouldn't eat at a Waffle House, this, that, and the other. And my thing is, Michael's father, you also another one. I don't. I got issues with people with that kind of money that seem. I just anyway. So he has a rich ass daddy or just a moneyed father, I guess, who picked out a venue without asking for his son's budget. Motherfucker, you better pay for it. The fact that you even know where that place is tells me you ought to be paying for it or leave it alone. Okay? So what you're not gonna tell her no. You got do you have it? Don't worry about what I have. Anyway, was it me or was Justine's mother rude to his cousins? And it was given bitchy and also kind of racist. Like they were like hugging and reaching out, and she said, "Oh, they introduced themselves," and she was just kind of like she. I've had people do that to me. That shit is rude as fuck. She didn't shake their hand and try to embrace them. Girl, bye. Why is everybody talking about what this couple should get for their wedding, who are not contributing financially to the wedding? Because let's be real, you need money for a wedding. Something about Justine covered up in all that fur she can't wear in Vegas was funny to me. I don't know why. It just looked really out of place. But it was funny. So Justine's mama, the next time you come on camera, you should not look like you couldn't get your nail polish off completely with nail polish remover. You look like what a 3-year-old does when their mother's not around and they're trying to copy it. Like, no ma'am. And you up here talking about you paid $100,000 for your wedding and your nails look like that on camera. And I don't even usually pick up on stuff like that, but it was there. And whoever that camerawoman is, y'all messy as hell. So Michael walks out the restaurant. He's stressed. He was like, all this money. I was thinking to myself, all that money does not need to be spent. Going to New York was already a lot, and I realized that that's where they're from, and they're like, y'all ain't heard, it's expensive here. Rent is high here. Okay, we trying to put a socialist in, we so stressed. As our mayor, we so stressed up here. You go to Jersey, it's not going to be expensive, but it'll be less. And your guests won't have to pay that high-ass $17 toll going back and forth across the bridge. Consider others. Anyway, so, Letitia and Keith. Letitia gets on my nerves. I have already made up my mind. I actually don't see Keith as the problem in this relationship. I don't. And nobody's going to convince me of that. Y'all notice how we haven't seen an aunt since he got out of jail? That's what made me think her whole job was to watch her and make sure she wasn't cheating. Anyway, so they have all 3 of the kids at the house. She's kissing all up on him while Keith looks like he's being held hostage. Her oldest daughter, looks sad and miserable. Letitia, let me tell you something. You are not going to beat the neglectful mother allegations with me. By the way your daughter presents on camera. If she doesn't like filming, then let her go stay with her father when it happens. Because dragging her through that is for you. It's not for her. And she's too young. And she's already living in a small town. And they're already black in Iowa. All right? So don't tell me that shit don't come up in her life as a high school student. Anyway, and you had Charles filed against you currently, and you steady making stupid decisions on TV. So people can go back and use this against you. Ask Candace. People will tell you it's a mutually consented fight. When Monique had to ragtag her head. She deserved it. I don't care. Anyway, so Keith's father calls to check on Mari the boy. So Keith is telling us he doesn't have full custody, but the son has been living with them for a few days. And I was like, does that mean that he's staying the night for a few days or he's living with you? So if your father is checking on his grandson because he is the legal guardian, he's giving you leeway with the boy. You shouldn't be on TV showing that he's giving you leeway for you to get the son taken back. You just got out of jail. If you expect to get full custody. Anyway, so Letitia is complaining about how stressful it is to have all 5 people in the house. Bitch, you brought this on yourself. You brought it on yourself. I'm sorry. I'm really out of sympathy, and I have tried. Not that I ever really had it for Letitia, but like the rest of this cat, it is gone. It is gone. It is gone. Okay. Marrying a man in prison. That was already a poor decision. Even though I'm clear that Keith is not the problem in the relationship, he has a son he doesn't have custody of. Who the fuck are you gonna leave your child with, your 7, 8-year-old daughter with, if you end up in jail? And then you're bringing up this boy's case that don't have to be your problem right now. And don't get me wrong, yes, I do think when people are married and if there's an issue, yes, married people take it together. But you got current charges. You shouldn't be around this boy either. Like, I'm sorry, you shouldn't. She is such a hood rat. I just, I can't stand her. So Keith's talking to his father, who clearly seems wise, somebody who has grown, learned from his mistakes, clearly. Okay? Letitia says she works remotely now, so she was in the coffee house pretending like she was doing something on her computer when she was probably playing Minecraft. Anyway, so she works from a coffee house. She says she doesn't miss having a big team. She might as well have said she doesn't miss paying the overhead, okay? Because honestly, that business never looked legit. I didn't even understand why they were trying to fool us. Like, who would trust somebody like her to do their taxes? I mean, her and that whole team. Who would have walked into that tax office and let them hoe-ass bitches, the way they were dressed and acting, do anything but run an escort service? Like, are you for real right now? Letitia, you a scammer. Anyway, and by the way you move and the money you move around, like when y'all had to move out that house, you got the kids moving here, there, and everywhere, and you talking about the case is draining you. I honestly believe you committed some type of fraud. We didn't forget about that ex-con paralegal you hired because your money was funny then. All right, and your change was strange. Sometimes you just got to, baby, let it go. Anyway, so Keith isn't willing to take care of your kids. I got that impression. Because all y'all sitting down, Keith ain't up to taking care of your kids, but you was breaking your neck for his. And the fact that that's not coming up, that means you can't expect him to do that, but this is your husband. And you were like, I don't know if he'll wait for me or not. He won't. And the fact that you're concerned about that is giving Yandy. Okay? At least Yandy has sense enough not to marry Mendices in real life because she didn't want him fucking with her money. That was smart. I didn't think that was stupid. Now, carrying on TV as if you were married, that was stupid. But the actual act of not doing that, yeah. Anyway, Letitia's attorney calls. She starts pushing the camera away. Girl, miss us. All right. So, JK, Brooke, and Alex. Yeah, y'all getting the same treatment as them other three I'm about to get to. I'm not playing this game. It's not JK and Brooke. It's JK, Brooke, and Alex. Okay? Once you mic'd up like that on a regular basis, all y'all in this together. So we get JK driving over to Brooke's house again. Has he even come by what's her name's? Not Brooke's house. I'm sorry, he was driving to Alex's house. But has he been to Brooke's house? I feel like he was thinking over to Alex when he had that ankle monitor. Anyway, so he's admitting that he cheated on Brooke because he wasn't happy. Yeah, well, you're also not a good person to be with. You could also tell somebody, oh, that's my neck pillow, but that you don't want to be with them. But no, men like that can't. After lying about sleeping with Alex all the time. Anyway, he asked Alex if she's pregnant because he's been hearing this from everybody else. Even though he said he slept with her some months ago. The ease with which you go over to her house, the ease with which you expect to see her when you go over there, stop playing with me. Alex was like, well, what does my pregnancy have to do with you? I said, boop. She told his daddy so he would tell him, but she wants to like punish him, but not anyway. She was like, we messed around, but you said, oh, with Brooke. She said, she didn't tell him she was pregnant. She said, Alex said, I didn't tell JK I was pregnant because when I miscarried, he left me alone. I said, he's an abuser, because that's what abusive men do, is abandon women who they've made to feel like they're in a relationship with and then come in and out their lives. What kind of emotionally, physically, I can definitely see physically by the way he was grabbing Brooke. But that's an abusive behavior. So she said, so why would I tell him I'm pregnant and he's going to leave me alone anyway? I said, I can't argue with that. Ain't no sense of you bringing on more stress and you already pregnant taking care of yourself. I don't blame her. Lie to him. He's not worth it. Tell him you were fucking somebody else to hell with him. Now that's what I'm thinking. Okay. Alex is clearly smarter than Brooke. Okay. Brooke was trying to get pregnant from a no good Dusty. Okay, but Alex got pregnant and said, not a second time with this bullshit. No, I won't. Because somebody going in and out your life, those on and off relationships are so much worse in the long term to your self-worth and things like that than a bad breakup, a big breakup, a clean breakup. In that sense, it's not good for you. And that has to do with that narcissistic abuse. Anyway, he asked clearly if the baby was his. And she eventually got around. She said 50%. She said she was sleeping with another man around us. She don't even care. She's just like, fuck you. He keeps hanging up on Brooke. Brooke gets called, I'ma choke him, da 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 da. Alex said to JK, leave me the F alone, okay? And go live your life. Don't ask me why I decided not to curse in this one time when I'm actually quoting somebody. JK is dumb and he is a degenerate trash ball, okay? He is toxic. He doesn't love Brooke, and I understand why you don't. You just should stop using her. And he doesn't love Alex. He hates himself. That's why you can treat people like that. You have to hate yourself. Anyway, you can't love somebody else till you love yourself. That's it. People used to tell me that all the time growing up as a kid. And I'd be like, what the fuck does that even mean? Okay, like, now I get it. Took me a while, but I get it. So Alex has the attitude I wish Joella had. Go and be with her. Go and be with that bitch. You keep coming in and out and I'll let you. And I'm not going to do it anymore. Now, I do think Alex is older. Like I said, they got till 30. She said he asked basically, can we take a DNA test right now? And she was like, no, it's high risk. And the midwife wouldn't recommend it. I was like, a midwife? I know black women have every reason in the world to do that doula stuff and those birthing centers because they cannot trust doctors to deliver their babies safely. Okay? But a midwife in Waco, Texas just sounds like that's not safe. You need to go to a doctor. Okay? But then again, hell, it took Brooke 2 weeks to get pregnancy results. I don't know. Maybe that's how it's looking down there in Waco. Anyway, Alex read his ass, so I got to give it to her. You can do bad all by yourself. Get a protective order or never come out the house when he comes over. Don't let him keep coming over there. It ain't worth it. And we all know JK before it's over going back to jail. I hate to say that, but that's just where it looks like it's headed. And he's too aggressive and he makes too many rash decisions. JK, the way your mouth is moving in that confessional, I'm not trying to be mean, but you on something. And last week, I know I said, and I didn't mean, I was joking, but you could see, I was like, it looks like Tiger King. So she said she's ready to pull up to Alex's house. This is Brooke in the car talking and said, and I thought to myself, I said, oh, I forgot she had the track on his phone. JK, you can't even go get your own phone bill. You already ain't paying no rent. You sleeping on your mama's floor. You so low maintenance and don't want to really use your money for nothing other than your basic wants that you still let this woman pay your phone bill and know exactly where you are. And Brooke, you ain't gonna keep that job. Anyway, talking about, you know what, Alex, I'm gonna pull up on them. Alex found out before she can find out again. I said, Alex who whooped your ass and turned you over like a Cabbage Patch doll? No, ma'am. No. Girl, you were roughed up. You look like it too. You didn't even fix your hair. You got your nerve. And I just wish Joella would do that, because when Alex was like, you got me getting in fights with people, I'm not dealing with this anymore. Good for you, even though we're not sure how real it is, but at least she said the right things. All right. The star of our show, my problematic favorite, Kiana, Demadrick, and Joella. So, Demadrick tells Joella, because you know she in Kiana's backyard now. Demadrick never in this episode has said to Kiana, you know, Joella was over the house. Drama. Anyway, he tells her she's tripping about the security cam footage. He was like, you were going to try and send me back to jail and take me away from my kids. She said, your kids were fine. I've been taking care of them. That's what I said. What do you mean? She trying to send you back to jail. What are you doing that would get you back in trouble? She got them kids, rounded them up, put them in a car, and said, I got to go to work. Okay, Demadrick ain't helped. He ain't put nobody in a car seat, nothing. Okay, Demadrick, you're doing too much talking about this. If you can't have me, nobody will. That's her attitude. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't see it that way. I don't doubt that she's still caught up in him. She has 3 of his children. So we could argue the same thing about them. But this is bullshit. Whatever happened is because you are the common denominator. Okay? So production got Joella out of there before Kiana showed up. So good job with that. Kiana was going off about a Class B misdemeanor and closing the door. Like production still don't have a hot mic when she was coming home to tell Demadrick about whatever she had found out at the lawyers. Joella was leaving the house and the cops pull over. She gave him her license. She didn't ask why she was being pulled over. I was like, girl, don't let them cops do that to you. You do have rights. Now, I know I've been pulled over, and I'll ask why. They actually have to do that. So the cop comes. I mean, honestly, her emotions may have been running hot from Demadrick. So the cop comes and tells her, do you have a warrant you're paying off right now? First of all, she was like, well, it hasn't affected me this whole time, but I do have a Class B misdemeanor, but I didn't think it was a big deal because he said he dropped it. I said, girl, how? Who's he? I was like, was this some other man? I would have been happy she would have been messing with somebody else. But I think she was referring to the judge the more she talked. He asked, how long she do time for. She was like, I didn't do time. White men talking to her on this episode was getting on my fucking nerves. Okay? And that happened twice. In one day, girl, please. I go somewhere, shut the door, close all the blinds and everything. Get them kids some sugar, let them crash, and just, you need a minute. So, asking her how long she did time for, what difference does it make with why you're stopping her in the moment? That's the kind of shit cops do. Everything you need to know came up in that computer system. That's why you were even asking those questions. And then you start pulling those fake questions. How many times do people tell the police stuff that isn't even true just because they're getting nervous? This is an example. She said, I never did any time. I'm convinced that production, though, tipped off the local cops. Because we learned from Destiny on Love and Marriage Huntsville, she taught us a lesson. Your producer knows all your business and will turn their back on you and marry your ex-man. But he's only your ex because he married her. All right, I'm just saying. So she received 2 citations. They do that shit. I was driving one time through Virginia to Georgia. And yeah, I was speeding. They gave me 2 citations. And this is when I was living in Alexandria because I was working on a dissertation in D.C. And yeah, I got one for speeding. He was like, well, you don't have the right kind of tags for such and such. I was like, what do you mean? I'm living here for a year. My tags are Virginia, not California. What do you mean? Well, in Alexandria in the county, that may be different. What do you mean that may be different? Y'all are one fucking state. What the fuck is going on here? Them crazy draconian laws. Anyway. Yeah, whatever. 2 citations. That's some bullshit. So she also has, she also got it for expired plates. And I know there's plenty of people going, oh my gosh, how could you not do that? And I'm not going to go in on Joella for that. I'm not. And I'm going to tell you why. Because paying those plate fees are expensive if you don't have it. Okay? If you have it, $125 a year, more or less, whoever you are, may not seem like much. But if you have 3 kids, you're a single mother, everybody depends on you for their food, their clothes, their place to live. You haven't been getting any help. You just had to pay $600 something for your tires, pay for your kid's party, and somebody done fucked up your car. That is a lot. It is. You're taking a chance every time you get in that car because she doesn't have a choice. She has to go to work. And if you ain't got it, you ain't got it. That's why when they were making fun of her car last episode, I didn't think that was funny. Why weren't y'all helping her out? Y'all want those kids to come around, this, that, and the other, but y'all making fun of the car that she uses to get them back and forth? Miss me with the bullshit. I don't think that's funny. So now, if I was Joella, I wouldn't have gone to Demadrick's house, and I would have seen that as a sign. Okay? Well, not Demadrick. I wouldn't have gone to Kiana's house looking for Demadrick. Okay? But woulda, coulda, shoulda after the cops are giving you a ticket. Now that's going to be expensive. You giving her a ticket for the plate she can't pay for. You know that's why most people do it. Sometimes people forget. But, like, by and large, it's the money. Anyway. So she had her driver's license suspended before. She hadn't done nothing, non-violent crime. So I just want people to know and understand, and by people I mean dumbass Kiana and Joella, because y'all at that 28, 29 period. At 30, that's who you are, and I can't mess with you. Y'all wouldn't be going through any of this. None of it. Not even making bad decisions, allegedly. If y'all weren't messing with this sorry Dusty. Every time they say or show on the screen, he's been out for 4 months, and I'm just like, oh my gosh. He has caused all of this chaos and confusion in 4 months. I can't get ready. Demadrick, you're a homosexual, though. We all know what's up. So the longer this show goes on, the less grace, sympathy, empathy I have for you two. Because y'all making dumbass decisions. Joella, don't you let that fucking lawyer in your house. That's what I was saying as I watched it. And she was like, we could talk out of here. Once again, feeling pressure, feeling like you have to respond. Both Joella and Kiana are stressed out. That's what we keep hearing. I'm so stressed. I'm so stressed. Kiana, you are not winning. You're not. Whether you did this car or not, you're not winning by having him. Because my thing is, he has money to take you out on a date because he isn't paying any real bills like a rent, mortgage, car notes, etc. He might pay his phone bill, unlike JK, but he's living good. Like, it's not like, and it's because you're sharing the burden. Don't you have like 3 jobs? Anyway, Joella told the investigator they could talk outside. The investigator, lawyer, whatever. I would have told him hell no and shut my fucking door. He asked Joella if he had any intention if she had any intention of getting back with him, and I was kind of thinking to myself, what kind of fucking fake professional bullshit is this? I'm so glad she called it when she said, what are these questions? Like, no, you're not on the side of the truth. You're on the side of whoever hired you, and that's Kiana. Then to ask her if she'd be willing to take a polygraph test. First of all, polygraph tests are not permissible in court for a reason. He thinks she's stupid. Or if you sit down and take a polygraph test, we can say, oh, well, this proves you're lying. After running there's a reason why it's not permissible in court. Because your anxiety can go just around the questions, and people have falsely correlated that to you get nervous because you're lying. That's not true. And people can lie to the polygraph test by staying calm. It's not like, and that's why people don't use them in court as evidence. Okay, if it was that easy, every lawyer would be out of a job. Anyway, he starts asking about if she's been in trouble before. And she was like, what? First of all, what does that have to do with anything? Now, this is the second white man up in her business. That shit was pissing me off. Because I believe that stuff happens. I know it happens, especially down south, where white people think, because I'm white, I'm just so smart. I'm just going to, fuck you. Anyway, he was basically trying to find out information about her background to undermine her credibility. Why didn't you just run a background check on her? This is what I'm talking about. This shit is stupid. Anyway, he pulls out the affidavit and he says, if you sign this, the case will go away. She was like, well, what's in it for me? He was like, you don't have to worry about it anymore. You won't have to deal with it. She said, no, she won't have to deal with it. He really thought she was that stupid. Kiana, pay that girl for her makeup, her cosmetics, because that's what she wants. Because you put this woman in a position that's making it hard for her to take care of her kids. Because we all know black people don't go to the police. Not in this way. Okay? But you fucked up her car, allegedly. It's a great chance that Kiana did do that. The riding on the car, slashing the tire, girl, please. That is a woman's crime. And if Demadrick helped, he told her, basically, yeah, she in the house. Because he was in there with her. And you go over there and I don't know. Anyway, y'all be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. I'll talk to y'all soon.